What is up, guys, and welcome back to my channel after a long hiatus. It's been a little busy over here. Long story short, quit my job, moved out of my flat so I can travel full time. So it's been hectic. But before all of that, I went backpacking in Belize and I took a little holiday to Greece. So in this video, I'll be sharing my tips and tricks just in case you're also planning your own trip to Zakynthos, Greece. So we stayed on the island of Zakynthos, which is also known as Zante, and more specifically in the town of Laganas. Now look, we fumbled the bag a little bit when it came to research, okay? If we had done our due diligence correctly, we would have known that Laganas is party central. Party central. It's a very young vibe. I mean, I'm talking like people who've just finished secondary school, people in uni, finishing uni, who don't have much money, but they just want to come and get drunk. They just want to come and get drunk at night and nest the hangover sunbathing by the beach during the day. But if you want something different, maybe you're a bit older or you're just not into partying, you can go to different towns. For example, Zakynthos town, we actually went there for a day and it was so different. I mean, it was quieter, a bit cleaner. You could just sense the vibe was different just from seeing the different restaurants that they had out there. We didn't get a chance to go, but we heard good things about Kalamaki and Keri, these regions. We heard good things about them, so you can also consider staying there if you're not really into the party vibe of Laganas. But you should note that it's probably cheaper to stay in Laganas because, well, I guess it makes sense, right? Because their target demographic are young people who don't have as much disposable income, so accommodation will be cheaper in Laganas. So that's for you to weigh up and down. It's about your vibe and your budget. And because we were so centrally located, we didn't incur much transportation costs, which honestly I think is such a good thing because I found the taxis to be really expensive. Like, for example, the airport was a 10-minute taxi ride away, but it was 20 euros each, like 20 euros each way. And to me, that's on the more expensive end of the spectrum. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, maybe because currently I'm in Egypt where taxis are a lot more affordable, but I just thought 20 euros for 10 minutes was a little steep. So what we saw other people do was rent ATVs and cars and use these to get around the island. So for example, you could rent an ATV for about 40 to 50 euro for a 24-hour period, including fuel. So if you've got more than one stop to make in a day, it's already cheaper for you to just rent an ATV, especially if you're sharing it with someone. So I traveled with a friend. That would be about 25 euro each for the day. So it was just cheaper. And of course, you've got more flexibility because you can take yourself wherever you want as and when you want. But anywho, in total, I spent just under £31 on transportation to and from the airport and going out to eat. Okay, so the category that nobody can avoid, food and drink. And this was actually my largest category. I spent about £307 in the week that I was out there. Cocktails were averaging at about £8 at the various beach bars and restaurants, and tequila shots were about £2.50 at the clubs. So we were not going for partying. Like, it wasn't a party holiday for us, so there weren't many like shots or clubbing. But naturally, you're on holiday, so we did have some cocktails by the beach, wine or sangria, wine or sangria at dinner time. So it adds up a little bit. And guys, the restaurants were lovely. Like, there were plenty of lovely restaurants serving good food with like beautiful views to match, and the staff was super friendly. Like, yeah, I really enjoyed the restaurant scene in Zakynthos. You can also go out and like explore neighboring areas to eat there. Like, one night we went out for dinner at Madison's, we went another time for lunch. Like, you get the point. There's plenty there. Sorry, I thought I saw something. I was like, what? I thought I saw a camel on the roof. I was like, hold up. But no, it's not a camel on the roof. So there's plenty of restaurants. But if you are traveling on a budget, you can just go out to the strip and they have plenty of like food stalls that you can go to for, for cheaper food. It's like almost like street food. So we found that there was something for everyone. It just depends on your vibe and on your budget. I think that's like true for everything that we're gonna say. Okay, so let me preface this by saying that there is a lot to see and do in Zakynthos, but we just didn't have the time or the desire to do it all, to be honest. But there is a lot to be done. And if you're wondering how to book these, don't, because they will find you. You just walk outside and you've got people shoving leaflets in your face, advertising the different tours and ATVs, etc, etc, etc. You do negotiate, get a price you're happy with, book and go. Like, it's that straightforward. All right, so let's get into my favorite one. Even before we came to Zakynthos, we already knew that we were going to do this, because in Zakynthos you can rent a private self-drive boat. self-drive. So like you don't need a captain, you just go out by yourselves. So we're like, boom, we're renting a 4-hour private boat, let's go. We thought we were gonna, live our European summer dreams, driving the boat by ourselves, doing this, that. So we thought. So anyway, the guide takes us out on the boat and he's showing us, how to operate the boat. He pulls out a map. He's like, this is where you can go, this area's off limits. Mind you, I don't know how to read a boat. I don't know how to read a map. I don't. Luckily, I've got Kuzai. She does. So anyway, I'm just looking at this map like, and he's like, this is how you drop an anchor. He's just showing us the things to do. And I'm just here like, thank God Kuzai is here. Thank God she's here. Anyway, at some point, he then goes to us, he's like, he offers to upgrade us, obviously for more money. For extra 40 euros, he'll give us a bigger boat and he will just accompany us for the 4 hours. He's like, you can drive the boat yourself, but I'll be here in case you have questions, in case you need help, etc. Me and Kuzai look at each other, we're like, deal. So we get into a slightly bigger boat and we go off together. And honestly, I'm quite glad that we did end up going with him. One, it meant that we're not stressing about, the anchor and all of this map stuff. But two, it also meant that we're able to go into caves. So when you drive the boat yourself, you're not allowed to go into the caves, I'm guessing for safety reasons. But with him, he was able to drive us in and we could see them and they were freaking incredible. Oh my God. Guys, how insane is this, please? And look how blue it is. I can't reach it, but it's blue. Blue. I reached it. It's blue. Like the water was so blue. Annoyingly, we couldn't swim because of jellyfish, but it was just amazing to see. And it was such a fun day. Spent it swimming in the bluest water ever. Is it ever? Maybe not ever, because remember in Zanzibar, but in very, very, very blue water. It was honestly such a vibe. It was so much fun. So in total, we paid about £77 each. So, about 160. That's including the 40 euro extra that we paid to have the guide come with us and to get a slightly bigger boat. And if I would do this all over again, guys, learn from our mistakes, because bring alcohol. If you drink, bring alcohol and bring a speaker. Just next time we'll be better organized, but you can be. We also rented a quad bike so we could explore the island. Well, that was the plan, but it didn't go according to plan. So actually the quad bike that we rented kept breaking down. So basically we were driving, having fun. Then we switched. We literally stopped for a little bit. We switched. And we had to go over the quad bike side veering to the right. And we were like, what's going on? Like we've had no problems. And then recently it was slowing down. It's like it's not accelerating. What's happening? Literally within a minute, it's dead, and it died by that bend right there. That's where it died. So we had to push it here, just because obviously you don't want to stop by bend. Yeah, but it's a really pretty view. So that's something. But long story short, it kept breaking down, which meant that we didn't have enough time to go to many places. We ended up just going to one stop because that's how far the bike would go. We went to one stop where we had lunch and we had some swimming. Honestly, incredible swimming. Like the waters are so blue. It's blue everywhere. It was just amazing. Besides the stress of the bike. But if you go with a better company or you get a better bike, then you'll be able to spend your whole day just exploring and going to different spots around the island. Like I said before, ATV rental for 24 hours was 50 euros, including the fuel. So I think that's really good value for money. You can just go see several beaches. Which leads me on to the next thing that you can do in Zakynthos. Go beach hopping. Like seriously, Zakynthos has dozens of beaches. Go beach hopping, spend some time sunbathing, do what you do. The one of the most famous beaches actually is called Shipwreck Beach, which you guys might have heard of this. If you're planning a trip to Zakynthos, you've probably heard of this. That's the spot that everybody goes to for that Instagram photo. We couldn't be bothered to go, so we didn't. But if you have more energy than us, if you have more stamina, you can go there and get your Instagram photo. Okay, so top tips. Number one, safety. I felt safe in Zakynthos, guys. I did, especially in Lagunas, just because it is so active. Like, it doesn't matter what time of the day it is, there will be people out there. You're going home at 3 a.m., don't worry, you're not alone. There's a bunch of people out there, so you just feel really safe. Two, and this isn't so much of a tip as much as it is just me giving you a heads up, because I didn't know, and maybe I'm naive, but I wasn't expecting it. Because we don't see this in the UK, at least I haven't. But when we were out there were children begging like so much. Like they were just children begging a lot. It would be like 2 a.m. and there's like little kids who are awake. They're like sitting on the floor with their mom or on their own or with other kids, and they're just begging for money. And it was like not even a case of like hand out, but get up and sort of follow you, like tug on your dress, like pleading for money, like begging. It was really shocking to see. I wasn't expecting it and I was caught off guard. So now I'm telling you, so you sort of know if you're heading out to Zakynthos, especially Laganas, that there will be a lot of kids that are begging, and naturally it's awful to witness. So heads up. 3, I've said this before, Laganas is a party town. There is a lot of partying to be done. So my tips are: drink responsibly, watch your drink, make sure you check people's ID before you go home. Those are my tips for Laganas, okay? Be safe. And tying very closely to number 3, don't stay in Laganas if you don't like partying. Like there were people complaining and whining about it, and it's like, well, we're here now, make do with it, you know what I mean? And 5, again, not a tip, just a heads up, something I also wasn't expecting, but they were selling weed out here. Like not weed, but like they would have the shops, right, and they'd have, you know, the little cannabis sign. And apparently it's not weed, because weed is illegal in Greece, but it's like, I don't know, something that's like weed or a variation of weed or something. I don't think it's CBD, but anyway, whatever it was, apparently it's just as strong as weed. And I just found it a bit of a culture shock to like walk down the road and see a shop that sells weed. I was like, oh, the UK is so far behind. But yeah, anyway, not a tip, just another heads up, so you're not also like a bit clutching your pearls when you get out there. So I've been breaking down my budget as we go, but naturally I incurred other like ad hoc expenses, maybe souvenirs, etc, etc. So in total, but not including accommodation, because my accommodation was partially paid for using points from booking.com. So in total I spent about £487 over 8 days, so that averages out at £61 a day. And honestly, I think that's quite good value, because I mean, we were eating out at nice restaurants, we were having wine, cocktails, sangria, etc. And you know, like the excursions, especially the boat excursion, that was a bit pricey. So I think we got good value for £61 a day. But let me know in the comments what you think. £61 a day, is that a good budget? Yes or no? Anyway, those are all my tips for Zakynthos, guys. I hope you guys found it helpful, and if you did in any way, I'd be so grateful if you could give this video a like, a comment, and share, just to give the algorithm a little boost, especially since I've been away for a little while. But anyway, I am now back. As I said, I'm currently in Egypt, so I'm back. I've got time to edit, I've got time to get a lot of content, so I'll be seeing you guys very shortly next week. Ciao.